Hello everyone, good day. Welcome to my talk, How to Nuke a Product Sunsetting. Yeah, so we'll quickly kick off with a very simple quote. Part of the journey is the end. This was said by Tony Stark, Iron Man in the Avengers. Yeah, and it highlights everything in my talk. It's just a very quick summary we could kick off with. Yeah. So we're gonna very much dive in. So I'll do a quick intro of myself. My name is Godson Njoku. I often go by the alias Godspeed. I am a product manager at Dado Food, which is a food ordering service based out of Enugu and Abuja in Nigeria. And I co-organize GDG Enugu. I love the internet and every joy it brings to everyone. Docu-series, motorsports, and Formula One. You can find me online on any social media at Sage Godspeed, Sage_Godspeed, and very much connect with me if you wish. You could send your questions over there. I would find time to respond. All right. So we're going to start my talk off by talking about the product lifecycle. Now, the product lifecycle is more or less the lifecycle of every product, service, business, whatnot. And it typically starts out from ideation and development. So the idea comes through, you think about it, you invest resources in developing it, and then you go to the next stage, which is all about the introduction stage, where you market your product, you bring it to the front of your users and everything in between. And once the product is stable, you go through growth, where you're actively marketing your product and trying to get it to grow user base and a market share, a healthy market share. And you're finally at maturity, where you have a market share and you're keeping things interesting for your users and doing just about a good enough revenue. In some cases, you also make profit. Then the final stage, which is the decline, where your product is at the end of life and it's seeing decline in terms of user engagement, profit, value, or even rising cost. Now, there are some edge cases which you'll find on one side of my slide, which is called extension, where you're able to do a very quick refresh and improve your product, and your customers become excited one way or the other and things start to go back. It could happen in a variety of ways, but that's not the subject of our talk. Our talk today is everything about the inevitable, which is a product decline. Yeah. All right, so moving forward, I'm just going to quickly define product decline. Product decline refers to, just like I said earlier on, the decrease in sales popularity of a product. It's typically due to change in demand, market, and increased competition. Sometimes it's also as a result of advantage features or even technology. It's everything around a dwindling demand or customer usage of your product, which is marked by reduced revenues and in many cases profit if you're at that point where you're profitable. Just like I said at the very beginning, something from the Marvel universe once again is dread it, run from it, destiny arrives all the same. Majority of all products will die. They will face their decline and they will be phased out and new things will come, and that's what keeps evolution going on for products. Yeah. All right. So how does a product get nuked? Literally, because that's a very loaded word. Okay. So a product, how does it get nuked? A product gets nuked when it's sunsetted or sunsetting. Sunsetting is the process of having a product sunset. It means stopping a product or a service. It happens when a organization, a company, a team, or a group, or even a person decides to discontinue a product that started out or a feature, and it allows the company to move on to other things. It also helps the company set expectations for their customers to move on and understand that this product has come to its end of life and there will no longer be any service from the organization. Now, we need to also talk about why a product would sunset. So it's marked by one or a combination of all 6 of this, and there are also other cases where I might have not listed here that could cause a product to sunset. All right, so why would a product be sunset? It could be caused by low demand. Now, low demand is marked by many factors. It could be declining customer usage, it could be declining revenue, or even profits in many cases. And another stage that could cause a product to be sunset is technological obsolescence. So a good example is the feature phones of the old, and it going it's still being used, but in favor of the current devices that we have, which is your Android or your iOS, whatever ecosystem you are in. Then there's also technological dependency. This is more or less where the technologies which you build your product on top of are being phased out. That way you can no longer serve your customers. There's also a case where market saturation could cause you to sunset your product. This is more or less marked by when there are too many competitors playing in the same market and it makes no sense to keep going. Maybe your profits are declining and someone is more or less being the alpha and omega of the market, and everyone decides to leave it. A good example is Google. Google is the king of search engines currently. There are others there, but Google is now even in dictionary as a verb. All right. So then next is high maintenance cost. So high maintenance cost could cause your product to sunset because it makes no business logic anymore to keep it going. So you could decide to sunset your product. The final one on my list is company runway depletion. So this is more or less when the capital needed to run a business is exhausted and there is no way to raise additional capital to keep the business running. That means that at this point in time, you now decide that it's time for us to close our doors. Yeah. How to nuke a product. So now I'm going to walk you through the steps of nuking a product. Maybe you built out a project by yourself that's amassed users, or you just built something for proof of concept, or you are in a team, or you are leading an organization and you wish to end the life of a product that your team has taken time to build. Yeah. All right. So next will be the steps. So I'm just going to walk you through the steps. I will be as concise and detailed as possible, but rest assured, in my slide you could find a URL pointing you to a much deeper written resource that you could get the steps involved. All right, so I'm just going to walk us through the steps involved in a product sunsetting, which in essence is you nuking a product. So first things first, you will need to conduct a product assessment. This is more or less checking and verifying that your product actually needs to be sunset. It makes no logical sense to go out and build something and just at the speak of utilization or meeting its reason for existence, you decide to sunset it. Although there are cases where that is possible, but you also need to be very clear about it. Up next, you have to do is internal coordination and documentation. So this is more or less coordinating with the teams or the people or your stakeholders involved in the product development process. And up next, after that, will be to address legal and contractual obligations. So you need to speak to legal to see how much exposure or indemnity you will face when this product gets sunsetted, either between you and your stakeholders, your financiers, which is more or less your investors, or your customers. Then afterwards, you need to also do the most critical step, communicating to your customer that your product is coming to its end of life and you need, and all support for that product is getting ceased, so they can actively prepare their house. And it's not like an immediate process, you have to give them time to pack and move on. And in the event where your product is a maybe a SaaS or an enterprise that has subscriptions or finances involved, you might need to also go through the process of refunds and cancellations, so nobody gets charged to their cards, or if they have paid for a long-term support or usage of your product, they can get their finances back and move on. Then up next will be data management. So you have to think and decide, because data is key now, especially in this time and age where a lot of products are very much in tune with collecting data to better and improve things, and also tailored and customer preferences. So you need to be very involved in your data management, so nothing gets lost, nothing gets exposed unnecessarily, and you can really end things. Then once you are done with sunset, you need to do a post-sunset evaluation. So this is more or less checking and confirming that every step you took when you were sunsetting your product was done properly and in the ideal manner, and nothing fell through the cracks, Nothing was done in the wrong manner, so you can fully clean up after you're done. So, of course, this is an exhaustive set of steps, but there's still more work to do because you do not wish to um, make sure you do not wish to have things sloppily done. You want to do things precisely. So there is also further steps involved after a product might have been sunsetted. So number one on the list will be resource management and legal closure. So you need to turn off the lights. You need to turn off the gas. When I say this, I mean all resources involved. So servers, subscriptions, SaaS that you need to like cancel them so nothing is going out. You need to, if there's a fiscal office, you might need to find how to clear up with that. That's referred to as resource management. You also need to go through the process of a legal closure if that's the thing. Maybe the entire organization is getting shut down, so you might need to follow up the legal part of things so you are clear with the tax office and whatnot. Yeah. The next step will be asset sales or disposal. So many times, if you are sunsetting, the product you might have been built or the systems you might have been built might still be very much of value to another party who might take it and retrofit and build out something else on top of it. So you could put items up for sale, you could terminate things and put them under lock and key and whatnot. This is clearly seen in one of the startups that sunsetted early this year, LaserPay. After they were done with sunset, they arranged for anyone who wanted to buy their IP to come through. Up next will be financial analysis. This is more or less checking and confirming whether everything is in order financial wise, the profits, the loss, the revenue, everything. And in the events where it's a big organization, you will need to reallocate the team members. So this is something HR will do, and it's not really something you'll be involved with as a PM or as a product person or as a team, but it would definitely happen. Up next will be documentation. So everything will be documented, so there's knowledge base, so people can consult it later on in the future. Finally, we would have customer support. This is very critical. You always need to support your customers because they will still come back trying to find out additional key pieces of info that they might have missed, or pardon me, additional piece of info that they might have missed, or generally if they have any issues with migrating or coming off your systems when they were done. Yeah. So now you might be wondering, this seems like something that it's more or less I've said quite a lot, and you might wonder what's a real life use case or what's a real life case scenario of product sunsetting. So look no further than our enabler for our activities at DevFest, which is Google. Google is the champion of success amongst many product people. Till date, they have 293 products that have been sunsetted. My clear favorite so far with the products that they have sunset, I have two. So the first example is Inbox. Inbox was a supercharged version of Gmail. They sunsetted it a while ago and took those features that I loved and put it in Gmail. And most recently, they decided to sunset the Google Podcast app. From what I hear, the podcast feature will be going into YouTube Music, and everything should be fine. You can see an archive of all products that were killed by Google. And ironically, this website, HTTPS, killed by Google. And yeah, so do take time, explore, see why, find out why. They are very interesting products that have been sunsetted by Google. And basically, product people refer to them as a prime test bed of ideas because many of those products are not particularly what you regard as unsuccessful, but they ended up being sunset after the lessons in customer behavior has been gotten. With that, I say thank you. I'm at the end of my talk, and big shout out goes to everyone who helped to put my talk together, from reviews to helping with records and every other thing. You could also find my slides on this URL here, https://bit.ly/nonsense. I wanted to use sunset, but the minified URL had been taken, so it's nonset at this point. So, which is Nuke Sunset. I do hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you.